Hello dear students, third prep science. We have here education, the first episode in our education year 2015 and 2016. Today we have to study the first lesson in our curriculum in this year, as we have 4 units, and the first unit especially talking about the motion, speed, acceleration, and at the same time scalar and physical quantities as a vector and the scalar physical quantities. So dear students, let's go to start our lesson today at the first episode with the motion, and here in this lesson we will talk about the motion in one direction. So here we have to know what is meant by motion, and at the same time we should know what is meant by the factors affecting the motion in one direction. So let's go to start our episode today with the Unit 1, Lesson 1, Motion in One Direction. Okay, as you see here in front of you, we talk about motion in one direction. So we have train as an example represents the motion in one direction. So here we should know what is meant by motion. What is meant by motion? يعني ايه حركة أصلا? Before we start our points in our lesson today. Motion, as we change what here? We change the position. Is the change in what? Of the objects what? يعني جسم غير ايه؟ Position، غير مكانه at or as time passes، بمرور الوقت. So here, as you see in this picture, we can see this runner here move from this point to this point. So at the same time here, this runner change its what, or his what, change his position، غير مكانه as time passes، بمرور الوقت. As we see here, at the same time here we can see as a small video represents the motion in one direction. As a ball, for example, change in its position. As you see here we can represent the motion of the ball. The ball move from one place to another, change its position، غيرت مكانها as time passes. So here we know what is meant by position, what is meant by motion, and at the same time we know what is meant by change in its position as time passes. So here we know, dear students, what is meant by motion. What is meant by motion يعني ايه حركة؟ آخر مرة هقولها change of the object's position as time passes. Okay, we have a next point in our lesson today. We, as in our life, we have give reason here. The first give reason in our syllabus، أول give reason في المنهج عندنا. Movement of train considered as example of motion in one direction. يعني تعتبر حركة القطر تعتبر حركة في اتجاه واحد. Why? Give reason for here. Motion of train considered as motion or as example or examples of motion in one direction. Why? Because they can move forward or backwards only, not upward or downwards. So here we talk about what? We talk about motion in one direction. So here if we have any question about motion in one direction here، جسم بيتحرك في اتجاه واحد، اقول له اصله بيتحرك لقدام والورا بس، ما بيطلعش لفوق او ينزل لتحت. يعني train has 2 directions only، forward here or what, or backward, not upward or downward. So any object as motion of the moon around the sun or around the earth here moves in one direction، بيتحرك في اتجاه واحد بس. Okay, not in many directions. So here we should know the first example in our, or the first give reason in our syllabus in this year. So We have another point in our lesson as a speed here. We talk about what? We talk about the speed. هنتكلم على السرعة مش الحركة. خلي بالنا هنا هنتكلم على ايه؟ speed. So what is meant by speed? Speed here, as you see in front of you here, we have runners in the race في سبق. Okay, so why they or during the race أو أثناء السباق they covered distance بيمشوا مسافة معينة during or through أو as time passes بمرور الوقت. So here what is meant by speed؟ معنى ايه سرعة؟ يعني distance covered what through time units، يعني مسافة بيتحركها أو بيقطعها زي ما بيقولها بالعربي through time unit بمرور الزمن أو في وحدة زمن معينة. Maybe we can say in 1 second. ممكن أقولها كده بدل ما أقول through time unit ممكن أقول in 1 seconds في ثانية واحدة. لأن time unit here we have 2 time units as hour or second only. So we know from the definition we can recognize the mathematical rule. ممكن نعرف mathematical rule عندنا as V. Here we talk about what? We talk about speed, and the symbol of speed in physics is V, which means speed is what? Distance covered. Distance has letter what here? D, distance covered through time unit over T. So we can recognize or we can calculate the speed as what over what? As distance divides or over time. Or we can calculate time is distance divides what? Divide speed. Or at the same time we can calculate distance as what here? As speed multiply with time. From this triangle, as a magic triangle as you see in front of you, dear students, we can recognize the definition and at the same time we can calculate the يعني نقدر recognize the definition from the magic triangle and at the same time we can calculate the problem. أي مسألة عندنا نقدر نحل البوينت بتاعت distance or time or speed at the same time. Here we can recognize on the monitor as we have to talk about the speed from distance and time and how can we calculate. As you see here from this object as this snail, we have distance covered at the same time as time passes. So we have two factors affecting the speed as distance and time. So how can we calculate the speed? If we have this object and this object covered 10 meters is distance in 10 seconds time. So how can we calculate the speed? Speed equal distance over time. So here we have what over what? 10 meter over 10 seconds. So equal what? Distance over time. Again, equal what? 1 meter per second as speed. So from this mathematical rule, we can recognize the measuring unit of what? Of speed as meter per second. If we change distance and time at the same time here as 10 meter in what seconds? In 5 seconds. So the speed will change as 10 over 5 equal 2 meter per second as speed. So here the object change its speed. غير سرعته from the distance and the time at the same time. So we know now how can we differentiate between the objects according to motion and according to the distance or according to distance and time from this calculation as speed equal distance in meter over time in seconds or as vice versa as here we have maybe distance in kilometer and time in hour. We have two measuring units and we will recognize each measuring unit in our lesson today. So if we have a problem that to know the distance and time at the same time from the measuring units. هنعرف the measuring units and how can we convert from one measuring unit to another measuring unit. So here on the monitor we have a measuring unit of speed as what here? As you see here in front of you, meter per second. Meter per second. إمتى؟ when distance measured by meter. When distance measured by meter. And time measured by what? Measured by second. Okay? يبقى نخلي بالنا. If the distance in meter and time in second, we have measuring unit of speed as meter per second. At the same time, kilometer per hour, when distance measured by kilometer, at the same time, time measured by hour. So we have two measuring units as you see here in front of you. We have meter per second here, and we have kilometer per hour here. And from these two measuring units, we can recognize the measuring units of speed by meter per second or kilometer per hour. So we have as a problem here, dear students, to calculate what? As you see here, we have train. This train moves from Cairo to Alexandria at distance of 250 kilometer in 2 hours. Find its speed in kilometer per hour and meter per second. Here we have to recognize or to calculate the speed. هنحسبها مرتين. مرة بالكيلومتر per hour. طبعا very easy because we have the measuring unit of distance in this problem is 250 kilometer and time is hour. But at the same time we will calculate the speed in meter per second. So we should convert kilometer per hour to meter per second. How can we calculate this problem? As you see here, we have given in the problem as distance here, and here we have time as you see in front of you. عندنا distance و time. طيب أنا رايح أعمل حاجة بسيطة جدا. D equal what? 250 kilometer. Okay? Time equal what? 2 hours. Okay? حلو قوي. أعمل إيه بقى؟ From the magic triangle, we know what? V equal D over T. So we have, yes, we have 250 over what? Over 2 hours equal, yes, 125 what? Kilometer per hour. As the request from the problem, we calculate now by kilometer per hour at the same time from the magic or the mathematical rule, as we know here again. From the mathematical rule we can know distance or speed equal what? Equal distance over time. So we have to convert kilometer per hour into meter per second. How come? As you see here, dear students, if you want to calculate distance and time, from distance here, distance from kilometer to meter, we multiply with 1000, as we studied before in mathematics in primary stage. خدناها قبل كده في ابتدائي وعارفينها. طيب, and from meter to kilometer we divide over 1000. Okay, but time here, from time here, from hour to seconds, we multiply. Hour contains 60 minutes, and each minute contains 60 seconds. So we multiply 60 times 60 to convert from what? From hour to second. Or maybe we can use one time as multiply with 3600. صح؟ طيب. And at the same time, from second to hour, we divide. هعمل divide ايه؟ أكيد the same number as 3600. طيب, يعني from kilometer per hour to meter per second, we multiply or divide. من الكبير للصغير بنعمل multiply زي ما اتفقنا مع بعض. So here we multiply with 1000 over مش هنا 1000 اهي over ايه 3600 لان الكيلومتر فوق والاور ايه هو اللي تحت، يبقى 3600 هتتحول على طول to meter per second. اوكي. طب واحد ممكن يقول لي Mr. this number is very complex. We should simplify. طب ما تيجي نختصره كده. We have another way. بصوا اريحكم خالص اقول لكم from kilometer per hour to meter per second we can multiply or divide. اكيد multiply. يبقى multiply with what? with 5 over، نكتبها بخط اوضح شويه عشان تشوفوها، 5 over ايه 18. اي رقم عندي بالكيلومتر بير اور عايز اخليه متر بير سكند على طول، اعمل له ملتبلاي with 5 over 18. بدل ما اروح اعمل كده times 1000 over 3600 by calculator واقعد بقى ايه ممكن اتلخبط او حاجه. at the same time from meter per second to kilometer per hour we what? we divide 5 over what? 18 as a simplify of 1000 over 3600. طيب انا عندي 125 البروبلم اللي كانت معانا كيلومتر بير اور، انا عايزها ايه؟ انا عايزها متر بير سكند. اقوم رايح اعمل لها multiply with what؟ with 1000 زي الكالكوليتر اللي هنطلع قدامنا دلوقتي with 5 over 5 over 18 صح؟ عشان نخليها ايه؟ متر بير سكند. طيب تعال نحسبها مع بعض. 125 times what؟ 5 equal over 18 equal what? equal 34.7 meter 34.7 meter per second by one step. As you see here we can recognize from meter or kilometer per hour to meter per second multiply with 5 over 18 or from meter per second to kilometer per hour divide 5 over 18. So I hope dear students we can calculate any problem from distance and time to calculate the speed by using this mathematical rule to identify the speed, distance over time, and we can convert from kilometer per hour to meter per second and vice versa from meter per second to kilometer per hour by using 5 over 18 multiply من الكبير للصغير and divide from the smallest to the biggest measuring unit. At the same time here we have in any car أي عربية bus train we have what? We have a speedometer اللي هو عدد السرعة. Why we have a speedometer in any car? As a logic question, speedometer as electric meter أعداد الكهرباء اللي في البيت وظيفته إيه؟ يبقى here we have a device that used to measure what؟ هيقيس إيه السبيدوميتر؟ speed هيقيس السرعة. We have another give reason or the second give reason in our curriculum. This term as you see here cars and planes are provided with a speedometer. أي عربية أي طيارة train bus for يعني object يعني here we have provided يعني موجود فيها speedometer. Give reason for I think as you see here to what? To measure the هيقيس ايه؟ the speed directly عشان يقيس السرعة مباشرة. أنا مش لسه هجيب paper pen with calculator to calculate the speed by distance over time. We have a device that calculate the speed directly in cars and planes. Okay, dear students. Here we have to know sorry types of speed. عندنا نوعين من أنواع السرعة. Uniform speed as you see here, as we can say regular speed. We can say what? Regular instead of uniform. Uniform يعني منتظم. Regular speed or uniform speed. and here we have non-uniform speed or irregular. So here we have two types of speed. سرعة منتظمة وسرعة غير منتظمة. طيب let's go to start with uniform speed. Uniform speed here as what and what. احنا اتفقنا مع بعض speed is distance covered through time unit صح؟ طيب so here we know uniform speed is object. كلام مش هيتغير الا في حاجة واحدة بس. object that covered أو covers what equal distances or distance in equal or unequal. مش هو uniform يبقى equal periods of time. حلو قوي. يبقى لما يجي يقول لي what is meant by uniform speed or regular speed اقول له ايه؟ اقول له object that covers equal distance equal periods of time. يمشي مسافات متساوية في أزمنة متساوية. And here we have, as you see here in front of you, عندنا زي ما انتم شايفين يعني جراف في distance وفي طبعا التايم. distance and what and time here اهو كده اهو. So of what? of uniform speed. انا بتكلم لسه على uniform speed. او اعمله له ازاي؟ as straight line passes through the origin point. يبقى ده الجراف. طب افرضوا قال لي give reason for. افرضوا هنا قال لي give reason for. ليه graph of تاني uniform speed is a what? is a straight line اهو قدامنا passes straight line by ruler طبعا بالمسطرة through what? through the origin point. جاي من نقطة الأصل هنا. أقول له الديفينيشن على طول. هو عامل الشكل ده ليه؟ because the object covers equal distance in equal periods of time. بس هو عمل كده مش عشان هو ساحر. أكيد we have reason and logic reason. سبب منطقي جدا. uniform speed object that covers equal distance in equal periods of time. So we have another type of speed as what here? as irregular speed. as what? irregular speed. السرعة غير منتظمة. our non-uniform speed. We can say or call this speed by two ways. irregular or non-uniform speed. Non-uniform speed. Why? Body covered what? Equal distance? Maybe. But at equal periods of time اقول له لا بقى اكيد واحده فيهم هتبقى ان ايكوال. امال هو نون يونيفورم ليه؟ غير منتظم. يبقى object cover او that covers unequal distance بيمشي مسافات غير متساويه in equal periods of time في ازمنه متساويه. يعني ممكن يا مستر ممكن we can change. ممكن اغير ممكن اخلي equal. بصوا unequal اللي في الاول دي انا اخليها ايه اهي شلت كده خليتها ايه equal distance. بس ما ينفعش تاني اخليها ايه unequal او مخليها ايه بقى ما ينفعش اخليها equal سوري اخليها ايه unequal. يبقى ممكن اقول object that covers equal distance in equal periods of time or اغيرها تاني. تعالوا نلعب تاني اللعبه دي. اقول له unequal distance in equal periods of time. يعني خلي واحده فيهم equal والتانيه unequal وريح دماغك. الكلام ده امتى؟ في ال non uniform speed. non uniform speed and we can recognize يعني perform the form or the drawing of this graph like that. Here we have two axes of distance and another of time as you see here, and here we have distance, here we have time, but at the same time here not straight line is what? is a curved line like that. and give reason for. تاني فاكرين لما هناك كنا بنقول give reason for؟ give reason for هنا اهي تحت. straight line passes through the origin point as we answer by the definition here. we can use the definition to answer this give reason for. And at the same time, here in this give reason for, as a curved line, هو curved line خلي بالكم مش straight line, but passes through the origin point. هو طالع برضو من نقطة الأصل اللي هي هنا. Why? Because object covers unequal. أجاوبه بالدefinition يعني unequal distances or distance in equal periods of time or vice versa أو العكس. اوكي؟ طيب مفيش حد فينا يعني nobody, as you see here dear students, nobody can move with uniform speed. Nobody can move usually or continuously with uniform speed. مفيش حد فينا يقدر يمشي على طول بسرعة منتظمة، عمرها ما هتحصل. Cars, planes, we change our speed. بنغير سرعتنا. طبعا as we know the speed of Earth around the sun, of moon around the Earth is uniform speed. سرعة منتظمة طبعا. مدار معين زي as we studied before in primary stage خدنا قبل كده, and we will study again in third prep in this year. But our motion as car motion, as train motion, maybe stop, maybe change, decrease its speed or increase its speed. So we have a very simple give reason for the third give reason in our syllabus. Cars, as you see here, it is hard to measure regular or uniform speed practically. من الصعب عمليا ان انا اقيس سرعة منتظمة. As you see here, how can we calculate answer this give reason for on the monitor please. Here we have, it is hard to measure a regular uniform, يعني ممكن اقولها كده وكده, regular or uniform speed practically عمليا. عارفين الإجابة يعني for يعني more than simple. Why here? Due to traffic motion. بسبب حركة المرور. يعني طبيعي يعني أنا maybe my car or car's speed increase, maybe decrease, maybe I will stop. So here no أو hard صعب جدا to measure a regular or uniform speed practically سرعة منتظمة الجسم عمليا. اوكي. due to again انا بقول الاجابه تاني اهو. due to what? due to traffic motion. بسبب حركه المرور. due to traffic motion. okay. Here we have another concept in our lesson today as average speeds. السرعه المتوسطه زي ما بيسموها بالعربي. average speed here from the mathematical rule تحت اهو قدامنا. average speed equal what? total distance over total time. So from the mathematical rule we can mention the definition of average speed. ممكن اعرفها يعني زي ما عرفنا speed is distance covered through time unit. منين؟ speed equal distance over time. Okay? So here we talk about what? average speed as v dash. خلي بالنا average speed is what? v dash equal total distance over total time. And how can we define average speed? As you see here, total distance covered من اللي انا شايفه قدامي over او divided by the total time taken. بس كده. يعني from the mathematical rule we can define the average speed. برضو من الرول ممكن اطلع definition. زي ما طلعت السبيد here as distance covered through time units. Here we can calculate as the average speed or v dash equal total distance covered divided by the total time taken. How can we calculate the average speed here dear students? As problem. ممكن اخدها في صورة problem. انا هقيس كل حاجة انا بتحركها وهعمل total distance. هجمع كل distance as a summation of total distance over total time. Here body covers 20 meters northward. تحرك 20 متر في الشمال through 3 seconds. Then covered 40 meters eastward شرقا with 2 seconds. Then covered 20 meters تحرك 20 متر تانيين southward جنوبا 4 seconds. Then covered 10 meters westward يعني يتحرك غربا with 5 seconds. Calculate its average speed. خلي بالنا لازم الأول we should take care about the measuring unit. As measuring unit in meter, distance, the measuring unit of time is second. Here in this problem, all distances in meter and at the same time all times in seconds. اوكي يبقى مظبوط. The next step الخطوة الثانية we should draw the problem. لازم ارسمها. اللي هو بيقوله لي ده لازم ارسمه. As a draft يعني مش لازم not in problem يعني not a step as a mark in the problem مش هاخد عليه درجة في بس we can calculate by this drawing يعني بالشكل ده. بصوا هبتدي ارسمها. مش هو قال لي كده؟ The object moves how many؟ اتحرك ايه؟ 20 متر northward يعني اتحرك 20 متر شمالا او طالع بالقلم لفوق كده. اوكي. Then 40 meters 2 seconds eastward شرقا يبقى اتحرك يمين. احنا طبعا عارفين الفور دايركشنز من ثيرد برايمري من ثالثه ابتدائي يعني طبعا ما ينفعش ان حد فينا يقول انا مش عارفهم يعني. Then 20 meters in 4 seconds. What? Southward جنوبا. وبعد كده رجع 10 متر بس. فهو عايز الافريج سبيد يعني وقف هنا اهو كده. maybe in at home at cafe وقف في اي حته يعني المهم انه مشي دول كلهم. يبقى انا هعمل ايه؟ total distance covered over total time taken يعني total distance دي كلها covered over total time taken. طب تعالوا نعملها كده مع بعض. شوف v dash average speed equal total distance over divide by total time. total distance equal how many؟ total distance بالراحة كده نحسبها مع بعض. اوكي 20 plus 40 plus 20 plus 10 over time 3 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5. So V dash equal as you see 20 or 20 40 here 60 60 and 30 is 90 meters over 3 and 2 5 9 and here 14. So 90 over 14 by using calculator 90 over or divide by 14 equal 6.4 6.4 اكتبها كده 6.4 meter per second. So we can calculate the average speed. يبقى we know now dear students from this problem how can we calculate the average speed by using the mathematical rule from the definition. عندنا definition total distance covered over total time taken and at the same time we should remember the measuring unit of each one of them. يعني لازم اتاكد ان كل distance in meter and all times in seconds or vice versa كل distance in kilometer and all time in what times in hour. In this case we should calculate. لو لقيت حاجة تانية we should convert. لازم اغير as we studied before at the first point or the second point in our lesson today. And here we have to calculate the average speed. يعني عندنا average speed بتاعت عربية مثلا زي ما انتم شايفين قدامنا كده. This car change its speed يعني غيرت سرعتها from time to time زي ما انتم شايفين. Total average speed is total distance covered over total time taken. So maybe this car move from 0 kilometer كانت ثابتة زي ما انتم شايفين قدامكم. Then move for example here and covered 30 kilometers in half hour. Then 100 kilometers in 15 or another half hour. Okay, and we have 180 kilometer in what? In 3 hours. So our total distance هنا total distance over total time. Total distance over total time 100 kilometers 180 kilometers over 3 hours equals 60 kilometers per hour. يعني بعمل total distance over total time. As this person move in the market covered 3 meter to right direction. اتحرك 30 متر يمين في 30 seconds. بطلع له ال V. تمام؟ يبقى 1 meter per second to the right. اتحرك بقى. ممكن احسبها بكذا طريقة. So from this video dear students، من الفيديو اللي احنا اللي شفناه قدامنا ده، we can know how can we calculate the average speed by different way. Maybe in kilometer per hour, maybe in meter per second. يبقى عندنا more than one type أو more than one method to calculate the average speed. Okay. عندنا the last point أو النقطة الأخرانية، احنا عندنا speed, types of speed as uniform and non-uniform speed. At the same time here we have average speed and the last point is the relative speed. السرعة النسبية، يعني سرعتي بالنسبة لسرعتك. Maybe on the road as we in trip في رحلة مثلا from Cairo to the north coast، رايحين الساحل مثلا or العين السخنة whatever، يعني المكان اللي احنا رايحينه. Maybe two cars in the same road in the same direction، ماشيين في نفس السرعة بنفس الاتجاه. واحدة فيهم 100 kilometers per hour، واحدة ماشية بسرعة 100 كيلومتر في الساعة، and another with 80 kilometer per hour، واحدة ماشية ب 80 كيلومتر. هل أنا لو بصيت للعربية اللي قدامي دي هعرف إنها ماشية ب 100 كيلومتر per hour؟ لا طبعا. طب بلاش، لو أنا وهو ماشيين جنب بعض in the same direction with the same speed وبصيت له، هل أنا مجرد ما ابص له أعرف إن هو سرعته مثلا 120 كيلومتر؟ ما هو زيي. أنا حاسس إن أنا ممكن أديله حاجة من الشباك، طبعا هو غلط أنا عارف، بس كأنه واقف. فانا هنا بتكلم we talk about the speed of an object relative to another object. سرعه جسم بالنسبه لجسم، دي مش سرعه حقيقيه، اسمها سرعه relative speed او سرعه نسبيه. اوكي، فاحنا هنشوفها دلوقتي قدامنا هنا على المونيتور. what is meant by the relative speed. As you see here, as the two cars as you see on the monitor please, as the two cars move in the opposite directions. زي ما انتم شايفين كده السرعه، عربيتين ماشيين اهو. فلما يقول يعني عربيتين ماشيين عكس بعض، خلاص، في وفي، خلاص نشوفهم مع بعض. اوكي. The speed of the moving object، سرعه الجسم، relative to the other او the observer اللي هو other object. سرعه جسم بالنسبه للايه؟ للمشاهد، الاوبزرفر او other object. ممكن اقول other object. يبقى relative speed is the speed of the moving object relative to the observer. سرعة جسم بالنسبة لجسم تاني. اوكي. طيب if the two objects in the same direction، لو الجسمين ماشيين في نفس الاتجاه، يعني بصوا كده car A اهي قدامنا 40 meter per second ماشية بسرعة 40 متر في الثانية، and car B with 30 meter per second. انت عايز مين فيهم؟ relative speed of A to B. بصوا بقى معايا، if the two cars in the same direction we subtract، بنعمل ماينس. طب هعمل ماينس لمين مع مين يا مستر؟ اللي طلبوا مني الاول، يعني relative speed of A to B، يبقى قوم رايح هعمل مين ماينس مين؟ اللي انا طلبته الاول مين؟ A، يبقى قوم رايح عامل VA minus VB. يبقى VA اللي هي تبقى 40 meter per second minus 30 meter per second equal 10 meter per second. يبقى سرعة A أو speed of car A relative to car B is 10 meter per second. هو بالنسبة لي 10 متر في الثانية، لأنها relative speed. أنا بكرر تاني، إنما هو سرعته the real speed السرعة الحقيقية is 40 meter per second. طيب car B to car A. So we put what at the first? VB minus VA. VB minus what? VA. So 30 minus 40 equal what? Equal negative 10 meter per second، لأن هو سرعته بالنسبة لي أقل مني 10 meter per second. If the two cars at the same time we subtract the need أو the request in the question at the first and then we subtract with the other object. هنطرحه أو نعمل minus مع التاني. اوكي؟ طيب لو أنا عندي الاثنين in the opposite direction هنعمل subtract، هنعملهم minus اعتقد. we make what when the objects move in the opposite directions. هيتحركوا في اتجاهين عكس بعض. طبعا بتبقى يعني بعد الشر بتبقى الحادثه عنيفه جدا، لان السرعتين ساعتها مش subtract. ليه؟ بتبقى sum، الجمع summation، هنجمعهم على بعض. عشان كده لما حاجه بتخبط في حاجه الاتنين في عكس بعض بيبقى الدامج او التدمير بيبقى اعنف شويه. طيب يعني ايه اللي هيحصل؟ هقوم قايل له في، لو انا عايز في اي تو في بي مش هتفرق معايا، ما انت هتجمعهم كده كده على بعض. يبقى في اي بلس في بي يعني 50 بلس 80. 50 here plus 80 here equal how many؟ 130 meter per second. طب في بي تو في اي هي VA plus VB او VB plus VA equal what؟ equal هنا هتبقى 80 plus 50 equal 130 meter per second. يبقى انا عرفت يعني ايه relative speed. ارجع لها تاني كده بالراحه نشوفها مع بعض اهي. relative speed speed of an object relative to the what؟ the observer. speed of the moving object relative to the observer يعني سرعة جسم بالنسبة للobserver أو الجسم other object التاني. And we know if the two objects in the same direction we make subtraction between the two objects as V1 minus V2 or V2 minus V1 as the request أو المطلوب مني in the question. And if the two objects in the opposite direction بتبقى سهلة أوي المسألة طبعا، لأن مش هتفرق معايا يعني حتى لو حطيت واحد منهم قبل التاني بطريقة الغلط البلس ما فيهوش مشكله يعني. يبقى V1 plus V2 or V2 plus V1. Here we have some questions, dear students, to know what we know in this lesson. طبعا let's go to start with the first type of questions as write the scientific term. أول حاجة بيقول لي في scientific term عندي the distance that a moving object covers within a unit time. أظن ده يبقى مين؟ هنا هكتب إيه؟ Yes, excellent. Speed, distance that a moving object covers within a time or a unit time. Okay. At the next question here, a moving object covers equal distance at equal periods of time. Equal distance at equal periods of time. Here we talk about speed, but what speed? We talk about equal distance and equal time, صح? So we talk about uniform or regular speed. Uniform speed or regular speed. We can call by two ways. ممكن اقولها بطريقتين عادي يعني. The third question, the total distance, total distance that a moving object covers divided by the total time taken to cover this distance, or the distance. Total distance over or divided by total time. So here we have, yes, we have average speed. Average speed. Okay. Next question is the value of object speed relative. أظن يعني مش عايز أقول الكلمة بس هو كده مغششني الإجابة يعني. Relative to the observer. The value of the object speed relative to the observer. So we talk about, yes, relative speed. As is the objects in the same direction, we make subtraction. As the objects in the opposite direction, we make summation. What is meant by each? خلي بالكوا هنا عندنا what is meant with number. خلي بالنا ها. يعني هو بيقول لي what is meant by average speed. صح؟ واحد يقول لي طب ما هي مش انت لسه قايلها؟ اهي. Total distance covered over total time taken. صح؟ طب ما خلاص. لا هنا with number. يعني قايل ان ال average speed of a moving car is 70 كيلومتر per hour. طب النمبر اقول له ايه؟ هنا هو يعني as a complex او complicated متجمعه متركبه في بعض افكها له. اقول له ايه؟ اقول له total distance covered. total distance covered. الديستانس هنا بكام؟ equal 70 كيلومتر. اخدت دي لوحدها. over total time taken equal كام؟ an او 1 hour. خدت دي بس كده. طيب a car moves a uniform speed 80 كيلومتر per hour. اقول له ايه؟ uniform speed body covered او covers equal or unequal. yes equal distance or distances. equal distances. ما تجريش بقى، استنى كده. equal distance كام؟ يبقى 80 كيلومتر. اقوم كاتب له 80 كيلومتر at equal period of time equal what؟ equal an hour. يبقى اقوم رايح كاتبها له برضه 1 hour. يبقى if the number is complicated or complex يعني متركب في بعضه انا فكه. ده speed، يبقى the speed عباره عن distance and time، واحط الديفينيشن بتاعي زي ما انا عاوز. طيب ممكن حاجه تانية. if the number of the two measuring units are separated، لو هم مفكوكين انا ارجعهم تاني بقى. يعني ازاي؟ بيقول لي a moving car covers distance of 100 كيلومتر in 2 hours. ده جاب لي الديستانس لوحدها اهو والتايم لوحده 2 hours. اقول له distance and time which means what as a one word؟ as speed equal our speed of this car equal what 100 divide 2 equal 50 kilometer per hour. يعني if the number is complicated we separate them as you see here. If the number is separated we make it complex or complicated again، نجمعه تاني with each other. Give reason for a moving car seems to be at rest. عربية ماشية بس باينة كأنها at ايه؟ rest، كأنها واقفة. relative to the rider of another car moves beside it. عربية تانية أو سواق في عربية تانية جنبها in the same direction and speed. امتى we have only one case the car appears at rest؟ because relative speeds equal how many؟ at rest واقفة appears or seems كأنها واقفة equal 0. أنا بتكلم على إيه؟ relative speed. If the two cars move in the same direction with the same speed, in this case the relative speed equals 0, so they appear at rest. كأنهم واقفين. هم مش واقفين طبعا ولا حاجة، بدليل ممكن ادي حاجة للي جنبي في العربية اللي جنبي وهو انه بيتحرك، انا كمان بتحرك زيه. Okay, so dear students, at the end of this episode, I hope you understand completely the points in our lesson today as relative speed, average speed, and at the same time we know what is meant by the speed at the beginning of our lesson today. At the end of this lesson, I hope you get more benefits from this lesson and completely understands all these points. Until we meet again, thank you, see you soon, and goodbye.